Billionaire CEO reveals incredible transformation after a single mom's touching request at graduation. Alex Carter stepped onto the stage at the downtown LA auditorium, the spotlight hitting him like a cosmic ray, illuminating every facet of his polished suit. The crowd erupted, their cheers echoing, but he felt like an outsider looking in. In that moment, he wasn't the billionaire CEO, he was a man adrift in the glamour, drowning in a sea of applause that rang hollow. As he spoke about success, wealth, ambition, and opportunities, his mind wandered back to his working-class roots, to the cramped living room where laughter was a currency much more valuable than gold. He recalled his mother, tired but strong, wrapping him in hugs that felt like home. The warmth of family created a foundation that was crumbling beneath his success. But today, as he gazed out at the sea of eager graduates, something shifted in him. He spotted her, Sarah, a strikingly determined single mother surrounded by a plethora of affluent families, looking lost among the brightness. Her eyes were filled with untold stories, yearning for a brighter future for her two kids. When the ceremony finally ended, the hall buzzed with excitement. Alex, consumed by swirling emotions, decided to step down from the podium. Almost instinctively, he approached Sarah, whose poise amidst the chaos caught his attention. As she reached out to him, her voice trembled, yet held firm. "Mr. Carter, my son, he craves direction. Can you help?" Her plea struck deeper than any financial report he'd seen. It was raw, honest, and filled with a desperation that mirrored his own past. Alex hesitated, wrestling with the doubts that plagued him. But something inside him stirred. "Of course," he said, surprised even by his own response. As they exchanged information, Sarah's gratitude poured over him like sunlight breaking through a heavy cloud. Her hope ignited a spark in him he thought had long been extinguished. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As days turned into weeks, Alex found himself intricately woven into Sarah's life. Family dinners filled with warmth, laughter echoing against the stark walls of his penthouse, and community events painted vivid colors in his monochromatic existence. He witnessed a resilience in Sarah's eyes as she juggled her two part-time jobs while nurturing dreams for her children's futures. It was a beauty he had missed. But with every spark of companionship came the looming specter of his corporate ambitions. A new contract loomed on the horizon, a deal that could make or break him, yet it entangled itself dangerously with the very community that had welcomed him. As Sarah rallied her neighbors against the corporate practices threatening their lives, Alex's world was at a crossroad that he could see the pain etched on her face when she asked for his support, a plea that clawed at his heart. Would he choose profit over purpose? Would he stand back as a bystander in his own life, or would he leap forward into a new role, one that rekindled the family feelings he once knew? As he lingered in the bittersweet tension, the question remained, would he embrace a legacy of meaning over money? Alex couldn't shake the sense of impending choice that hung in the air. He lay awake at night, staring at the shadows dancing across the walls of his penthouse. He thought of Sarah, her smile radiant despite the weight of her struggles. He thought of the laughter of her kids, which somehow filled the emptiness that echoed in his own home. What had once seemed like a routine gala now felt like chains quietly binding him to a reality he didn't recognize anymore. The day of the community meeting approached. It was a chilly Thursday evening when the sun dipped below the buildings, washing the streets in hues of orange and pink. Alex could feel Sarah's determination echoing inside him, urging him to decide. As he arrived, the sound of voices filtering in from the gathering filled the air with a mix of excitement and concern. He took a deep breath, nervous but exhilarated, ready to walk into the heart of a community that felt as warm and inviting as family. Inside, the room buzzed with chatter. Neighbors spoke in hushed tones about the new deal, their concerns bubbling beneath the surface like a storm waiting to break. Sarah stood at the front, her head held high, addressing the crowd with a fire that captivated everyone. She spoke of what this deal meant to their lives and homes. Her passion flowed like a river, and Alex felt the pull of her conviction wrapping around him like a lifeline. "Mr. Carter stands with us," she declared, her voice cutting through the crowd. Alex's heart raced at the unexpected direction the meeting had taken. He hadn't prepared to be called out, but there he was facing a sea of hopeful faces. In that moment, Alex felt an electric charge course through him. The room fell silent, eyes turning to him, waiting expectantly. Questions whirled in his mind. What would he say? How could he convey everything he felt, everything he wanted to do? His gaze locked onto Sarah. She smiled encouragingly, a soft reassurance that propelled him forward. "Thank you, Sarah," he began, his voice steadying. "When I came here tonight, I saw a community strong and united. You're more than just neighbors, you're family. I want to help you protect what matters most." The applause was immediate, but beneath it swelled an undercurrent of uncertainty. Whispers tickled the edges of his consciousness. Was he sincere? Did he genuinely care? He couldn't ignore the duality of his position. He was still a businessman, after all. Yet, as he continued speaking, outlining ways he could support their fight against the encroaching corporate giants, he felt the bonds tighten, not only with Sarah but with everyone in the room. He revealed his plan to contribute a portion of his company's profits towards community-oriented solutions, to support local jobs, and to partner with Sarah on educational programs for her kids and their friends. "Together we can change the narrative," he proclaimed, feeling the pulse of hope swell as he spoke. "Let us show them the power of unity." As applause erupted, Alex felt something within him shift. It felt as if the walls keeping him isolated crumbled into dust. He had found a purpose, something greater than profits or accolades. For the first time, he felt truly seen, not as a CEO, but as an ally in a shared mission. However, as excitement filled the air, a doubt resurfaced. Would his commitment hold up against the backlash from his own company? What if they retaliated in a way that put everything he had built in jeopardy? The warmth of connection was comforting, but the looming questions, the unsettling uncertainty, refused to fade. As he stepped off the makeshift podium, he caught Sarah's eye again. The appreciation in her gaze was unmistakable, but so was the worry. "What happens next, Alex?" she asked softly, concern flickering across her features. He glanced back at the crowd, feeling their hope weighing heavily on his shoulders. This was only the beginning. "Let us find out," he said, determination edging his voice as visions of challenges awaited him. The journey ahead was unclear, but standing together felt like a promise. Worth chasing. The days that followed the community meeting felt like a whirlwind for Alex. Each morning, he woke up with Sarah's words echoing in his mind, a relentless reminder of his commitment. With every coffee sipped and every newsletter scrolled, he felt more and more the urgency of his promise. His phone buzzed with calls from his team, the usual demands pulling him back to the world of spreadsheets and profits, yet he found his heart split between two lives. On Saturday, he met with Sarah and a small group of parents. They gathered at the local park, children's laughter mingling with the rustling leaves. Alex watched as Sarah animatedly discussed her vision for an after-school program dedicated to cultivating creativity in kids. Her passion was infectious, drawing in every parent present. "We want to give our kids a place to grow, to explore their talents," she explained, the sun catching the light in her eyes, making them sparkle. "They shouldn't have to wait for someone else to step in, we can be the change." The energy in the air was palpable, and Alex couldn't help but admire her resolve. "I'll match donations for every dollar we raise," he said, surprising himself with how easy the words flowed. The collective gasp from parents turned into a cheer, and for a moment, he felt like a hero, but later, as the crowd dispersed, unease crept back in. "Alex," a voice called out. It was Mark, one of the board members from his company, a man well versed in the cutthroat world of corporate affairs. "I need to speak with you about these community commitments." Alex's stomach nodded. "What's the issue?" Mark's smile was tight. You know we have investors that don't share your passion for charity. They care about the bottom line. Aligning with these local initiatives could jeopardize our profits. They might not look kindly on your recent activities. A hollow feeling grew in Alex's chest. The sheer weight of his double life pressed down on him. It was one thing to fight for a cause, but it was another to risk everything he had built for it. He could almost hear the whispers of doubt echoing louder. Was he being foolish? Did he have the power to make a change without sacrificing his career? As he drove home that evening, his heart raced with thoughts of both Sarah's unwavering hope and Mark's harsh reality. That couldn't be all there was to this equation. Change was possible, but at what cost? He found solace in the memory of those children's faces, bright with dreams. Yet a nagging voice reminded him that the road ahead was fraught with challenges that could sink him if he wasn't careful. With every street he passed, it felt as if he were being torn in two, one part longing to embrace his newfound mission, the other terrified of the consequences. Alex finally pulled into his garage, staring blankly at the walls of his penthouse, feeling more isolated than ever despite the bright connections he had made. What would he do if his company forced him to choose? The door chimed, interrupting his thoughts. Sarah was standing in the hallway, a present in her hands, an expression of pure hope lighting her eyes. I thought you could use a little pick-me-up, she said, her smile contagious. The moment their eyes met, he felt the resolve solidify inside him, but the questions remained. How long could he balance his life like this? The moment they shared, the warmth of her gaze made him want to fight even harder. Suddenly, the silence was filled with promise, and he took a breath. Sarah, can we talk about everything? As she stepped inside, he knew one thing for certain, the choice before him couldn't wait any longer. What had he truly signed up for, and was the future still worth fighting for? As Sarah settled into the small but cozy living room, the air felt electric with possibility. She carefully placed the brightly wrapped gift on the coffee table, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. Alex inhaled deeply, feeling the weight of the day press heavily on his shoulders, but there was something about her presence that urged him to hope. What is this? He asked, trying to shake off his earlier anxieties. She beamed at him, excitement bubbling within her. Open it. She urged, her voice light with anticipation. That he undid the ribbon, tore the paper, and revealed a handmade journal. The cover was made of soft, colorful fabric, and a note was tucked in the front. For all your great ideas, it read. Let us dream big. Alex's heart swelled. This is wonderful, Sarah, he said, genuinely touched. Each page felt like a clean slate, just waiting for him to fill it with visions of what the community program could become, of the kids who would thrive because of it. A silence hung between them, the kind that felt heavy, yet ripe with unspoken words. He glanced at her, noticing how the light framed her face, casting gentle shadows that only enhanced her beauty. You believe in this so much, he said softly, realizing it was a challenge he wanted to rise to, not shy away from. Of course I do, she replied, a fierce determination in her voice. This isn't just a project for me. It's about their futures. It's about giving them what we didn't have. For the first time that week, Alex allowed himself to dream. But the shadows of doubt began creeping back in. But what if my company comes down hard on me? I could lose everything for this for us, he quickly added, afraid of how close he was getting. Sometimes, you have to take a leap, Alex, Sarah responded, her voice steady. You can't let fear hold you back. People are counting on us. Her words struck him like lightning. He was living in a world dictated by numbers and cold calculations, yet here was Sarah, choosing to build instead of break. What if I quit? The words stumbled out, unfiltered. What? She said, eyes widening. Not immediately, of course, he rushed to clarify. But what if I redirected my energy? Use my skills to help with this project instead of just contributing money? If I work hard enough, maybe we could grow this beyond even our dreams. The thought exhilarated him. The idea of shedding the shackles of corporate expectations felt liberating. But another voice whispered in the back of his mind, a caution that began to swell. "Alex, you really mean that?" Her surprise morphed into something more profound. Hope merged with concern. "You know it won't be easy, right?" "I know," he replied, fervently grasping her gaze. "But what's the point of doing all of this if I won't let it change me too?" For a moment, Sarah simply smiled, a mix of joy and disbelief saturating the air between them. This was more than just about children, it was about their futures colliding. Just then, as he felt the weight of the world slowly lift from his chest, a text buzzed his phone. Mark's name flashed across the screen, urgent, demanding. "Don't forget about the investor meeting next week," it read. "Better secure those profits." His pulse quickened. The familiar knot in his stomach returned with full force. "Looks like I can't escape my past that easily," he muttered, looking up at Sarah, who now wore a concerned expression. "This doesn't have to define you," she said, reaching for his hand. "You can create a future where your past doesn't dictate your passion." But he was left teetering on the edge of a precipice, weighing every possible outcome. "Maybe I need to go to that meeting and set everything straight," he whispered, his heart racing from the urgency of the moment. The question hung in the air, heavy with implications, as they shared a lingering glance. Would he hold on to the life he knew, or leap into the unknown? As uncertainty loomed, Alex felt a spark ignite inside him, a desire to be not just a spectator, but a participant in rewriting his destiny. What awaited him in that boardroom? And when he walked out, would he be the same man who entered? The next few days passed in a blur for Alex. Each moment felt steeped in anticipation, as if he were standing on a tightrope stretched over a chasm of unknown choices. The white-walled boardroom loomed in his thoughts, a constant reminder of the decision he had to confront. As the meeting approached, he couldn't help but replay his conversation with Sarah over and over again. It felt like a lifeline, urging him to step away from the familiar confines of his corporate life. Yet each time he eyed the packed agenda on his desk, fear gnawed at him. What if quitting wasn't an option? What if he failed? The night before the meeting felt suffocating. He lay awake, staring at the ceiling, while the shadows danced with doubts. "What if I don't have what it takes?" he whispered into the darkness. A sudden burst of regret threatened to surface, but he pushed it back down. He had Sarah's unwavering belief propelling him forward. The morning arrived with the crispness of new beginnings. After a quick breakfast, he found himself standing in front of the mirror, adjusting his tie. His reflection looked back at him, a man caught between two worlds. With a deep breath, he headed out the door, each step echoing with purpose. The boardroom was stark and intimidating, filled with polished furniture and cold, hard facts. As he took his seat, the murmurs of his colleagues washed over him, a symphony of apprehension. Mark shot him a quick nod, a subtle reminder of the stakes. Alex's heart raced as he prepared to face the investors, their expectations palpable in the air. Once the meeting began, Alex felt an almost tangible shift in the atmosphere. Reports on the latest financial outcomes filled the air, discussions of profits and projections. But as he watched the numbers flash on the screen, his resolve deepened. The weight of that handmade journal, Sarah's gift, seemed to press against his chest. When it was finally his turn to speak, he stood up with shaky legs, his pulse pounding. "While numbers and profits are important," he started, the tremor in his voice betraying his nerves, "I want to discuss a different kind of future." He glanced at Mark, who looked bewildered. A silence enveloped the room as he took a moment to collect himself. "I've realized that we have a responsibility to our community, to the kids who look up to us. We can do so much more than just make money. We can change lives." There were murmurs among the investors, a mixture of confusion and curiosity. Encouraged, he continued, "I want to redirect my energy. I believe in a community program that equips these kids with the tools, educational resources, mentorship, opportunities to thrive. I know it may sound idealistic, but this is where I want to invest my passion." The air crackled with disbelief. Mark shifted in his seat, his expression a mix of alarm and intrigue. Suddenly, one of the senior investors cleared his throat, cutting through the tension. Alex, you're saying you want to abandon the core of what our company stands for. You realize this could jeopardize your position here, right? His stomach nodded. Yes, I understand. But sometimes, we must choose to stand for something greater than ourselves. The words flowed out, bold and sure. After a beat of silence, he saw a flicker of something in the faces around him: curiosity, even appreciation. A flicker that started to ignite hope within himself. It was then he realized he wasn't just speaking to them, he was speaking to himself, embodying the very change he wanted to embrace. As the meeting drew to a close, the discussions carried on without him, fading into the background. Alex felt the weight of potential all around him. Just then, his phone buzzed again, pulling him back to reality. Another text from Sarah: thinking of you. No matter what, I believe in you. His heart warmed, a spark of courage flaring brighter. Would they understand his vision? Would he have the chance to lead, to impact lives? Just as he opened his mouth to respond to an incoming question, another text came through, a simple one that shattered his thoughts. Don't forget the quarterly report, or our investors will pull out. His heart sank. He was pulled back into the harsh reality, the struggle between his dreams and his obligations, yet, deep down, a new resolve settled in. Maybe this wasn't just about the community, it was about redefining who he was. As he turned back to face the boardroom, determined to take control of his narrative, he heard Mark whisper, "Are you really ready for this?" With a new fire in his eyes, he realized that this was just the beginning. What would his answer be? And what would it mean for both his career and his relationship with Sarah? The aftermath of the meeting was chaotic, enveloped in an air of uncertainty. Alex sat in silence, the sounds of chatter and shuffling papers swirling around him. It felt like he was floating, lost in a fog. Someone called his name, breaking through the haze. It was Mark, with a furrowed brow, leaning closer. "Are you sure about this?" Mark asked, his voice low and edged with concern. "It's one thing to talk about change, but it's another to make it happen. You're taking a huge risk." Alex's heart thudded. "I know. But what's the point of success if I'm not making a difference?" He met Mark's gaze, hoping to see understanding there. Instead, he found apprehension and admiration tangled together. Mark nodded slowly, as if processing Alex's words. "Then you better be ready for a fight, man. They don't take kindly to radical changes, even if they sound noble." As the meeting wound down, Alex felt a swirl of both excitement and dread. Discussions around him buzzed about their next financial strategies, but his thoughts circled back to the community program. He envisioned kids engaged in creative workshops, laughter echoing through newly painted halls filled with bright colors, a stark contrast to the sterile boardroom that he picked up his phone, wanting to reach out to Sarah and share his feelings, but hesitated. The text about the quarterly report loomed large in his mind. It felt like a chain pulling him back to the old life he longed to escape. But wasn't that the point? To embrace discomfort for the sake of something greater? He typed and deleted several messages before finally settling on a simple, "Let's talk later. I need to figure some things out." His hands shook as he pressed send. He couldn't shake the feeling that he was stepping onto a path that would redefine not just his career but his entire identity. Did he have the strength to forge ahead, especially when so many eyes were on him? As he packed up his things, a woman approached him. It was Naomi, one of the junior analysts. Her voice was barely a whisper, yet it resonated deeply. "Alex, I just wanted to say, your speech really inspired me. I know it's scary to break the mold, but you're onto something special." Her words cut through the ambient noise, striking a chord in Alex. A flicker of hope ignited, perhaps he wasn't alone. "Thank you, Naomi. I appreciate that," he managed to reply, a small smile breaking through the tension. As he stepped outside, the midday sun bathed him in warmth. The noise of the city pulsed around him, alive and vibrant. For the first time in weeks, he felt as though he could breathe deeper, the air full of possibility. But as he headed toward his car, the weight of the quarterly report settled on his shoulders like a heavy shroud. What if the investors brushed off his vision? Would they pull funding? Would it jeopardize everything? Alex paused, resting his hand against the cool metal of his car door. With the very real threat of his vision crumbling before it even began, his heart raced again, uncertainty clawing at him. But something inside him shifted. He couldn't go back to complacency. This was his moment to either step forward or fade away into the comfortable shadows of corporate life. As he climbed into the driver's seat, he glanced at his phone once more. Instead of messages from the board, all he saw were words from Sarah echoing in his mind her unwavering faith. Taking a deep breath, he vowed to hold on to that belief. The journey ahead might be daunting, but he had the chance to build something that could outlast him. He started the engine and pulled away, heart racing with every turn. Where would this new road lead? The uncertainty loomed large, but one thing was clear. Changes were coming, whether he was ready or not. As he navigated through traffic, a thought crossed his mind: would anyone truly support his vision? And what would happen if he pushed too hard? The questions buzzed in his mind like a swarm of bees, relentless and gnawing. Just then, another text pinged, Sarah's name lighting up the screen. "Can't wait to hear what you've decided. Remember, I'm here for you." Alex could feel the ground beneath him shift as he read her words. She believed in him, and maybe, just maybe, that belief would be the foundation he needed to build the future he dreamed of. And with that resolve beginning to take root, he faced the upcoming decisions with a mix of fear and anticipation. What would this journey truly demand of him? How much was he willing to sacrifice for the cause he believed in? The drive home felt longer than usual, the weight of possibility pressing on him from every direction. Alex turned the radio off, preferring to sit in silence with his thoughts. What would it look like if he truly followed through? As he pulled into his driveway, he noticed the familiar sight of his neighbor's children playing outside. Their laughter was a sound he had once cherished, but lately it felt distant. They were just kids, full of life, while he felt burdened by the complexities of adulthood. He sat for a moment, watching them chase each other, the innocence of their joy slowly chipping away at his fears. What if he could bring that kind of joy into something bigger? Those kids deserved a better chance, a safe place to learn and grow. The thought kindled a stirring inside him. Maybe he could be the one to help provide that for them. Once inside, Alex texted Sarah again. Thinking about launching the community program sooner than later. Want to brainstorm? The reply was almost instant. Absolutely. Can't wait to dive in. Her enthusiasm flooded him with warmth. For a second, he felt almost invincible. But as the evening wore on, anxiety seeped back in the looming quarterly report. He envisioned the board, their skeptical faces questioning his commitment to profit over progress. Would they understand? Could he convince them that investing in the community would yield returns beyond the numbers? After dinner, most of which he barely touched, Alex paced around his living room. The walls felt like they were closing in, each tick of the clock echoing his doubts. He could play it safe, stick to the numbers, uphold the image of the diligent CEO. Or he could risk it all, pouring his heart and hard work into an uncertain future. That night, sleep eluded him. He tossed and turned, his mind racing with visions of the workshops, the vibrant artwork, laughter, the buzz of creativity filling the air. He imagined witnessing kids stepping into their potential, something he had always wished for himself. The sound of success wouldn't be measured in profits alone, but in smiles and triumphs in places where hope had been scarce. That he stared at the ceiling, feeling a swell of emotion welling up inside him. Alex had never been one to act solely on impulse, but something felt different now. Maybe embracing this challenge would teach him more about himself than any accounting book ever could. The next morning, as sunlight filtered through the curtains, he decided he was tired of spectating while the world moved around him. Today marked the beginning of an important shift, not just for him but for the community he envisioned. That he dressed with purpose, a newfound determination igniting in his chest. Sitting at his desk in the office, he looked over the documents again, thinking about each line, each projection. What if he shared the vision? What if he painted a picture of the future where profits surged because they were investing in lives? Then, Alex wavered again. What if the board dismissed him outright? He felt the familiar grip of fear tightening. Just as that doubt settled in, his phone buzzed. It was an email from Naomi. "Hey Alex, do you have a minute? I'd love to discuss some ideas on how we can support your vision for the community program." He felt a flicker of hope seep back in. Perhaps he wasn't alone in this battle after all. He quickly replied, agreeing to meet. Racing through the day, as he prepared for the board meeting, he focused on the community program, always bringing himself back to the kids who inspired him, the laughter he so desperately wanted to hear. Yet, deep down, he knew the battle was far from over. The moment of truth was fast approaching. Would he stand up for his vision, or allow the fear of failure to sink him? Late into the afternoon, as he took a deep breath to steady himself, the boardroom loomed in front of him, a battlefield waiting to unfold. Would they listen? Would they see the light in his vision? He could feel the tension build within him, merging with anticipation. And as he stepped toward the door, he wondered if he was ready for what lay ahead. The boardroom was stark and imposing, with its long, polished table and sleek, modern chairs. As he walked in, his heart pounded in his chest. Each step felt heavy, yet vibrant. He could almost hear the echoes of laughter from the kids outside, a reminder of why he was here. Alex took a moment to scan the faces around the table. Some were familiar, colleagues he'd known for years. But today, they felt different, almost like a jury about to decide his fate. Their eyes bore into him, filled with expectation and skepticism. He straightened his tie, swallowing hard. Today would be different, he promised himself. "Good afternoon, everyone," he began, his voice steady despite the fluttering in his stomach. "I appreciate you all making time for this meeting." There was a slight shift in the air, a challenge hanging above them, as if they sensed the weight of what was about to unfold. That he cleared his throat. "I want to talk about something that goes beyond profits and market shares. Today, I'm here to present a vision for community development, a program aimed at giving our local children the opportunities they deserve." Soft murmurs erupted around him. A few raised eyebrows met his pitch, but he pressed on, fueled by the flicker of hope ignited by Naomi's email. Imagine a safe space for kids to explore their creativity. Workshops, mentoring programs, art classes, all designed to foster growth and self-expression. He paused for a moment, taking in the gasps and skeptical glances. "The truth is, we're in a position to make a profound impact," he continued, "not just in our ledger books but in the lives of those around us. Investing in a community isn't just charity, it's a legacy. Our returns will be measured in happiness, creativity, and long-term loyalty from those we're supporting. People will remember how we shaped their futures." He could feel the fire within him rising. His hands gestured passionately as he painted a vivid picture of the program, not just numbers and projections, but real faces, real stories. He detailed the vision of a vibrant art studio where kids could explore their dreams, a safe playground where laughter and learning intertwined. One board member, Karen, leaned forward, her face earnest and thoughtful. "And how do you propose we finance this? You know the shareholders won't take too kindly to soft investments." He took a deep breath, heart racing. "We can create partnerships with local businesses and nonprofits, collaborations that will garner community support. It's about showcasing that investing in people can generate real results, both financially and socially. We can lead as an example of change." A hushed silence fell over the room, as if they were weighing his words. He noticed some glances shifting among them, interested yet cautious. Just when he wondered if his moment was about to slip away, Naomi, who sat to his left, spoke up. "If we can bring a concerted effort to this, it could help us reshape the narrative. Community programs are becoming attractive to consumers who value corporate responsibility." Alex's heart lifted as he sensed the tide shifting. Maybe this was a pivotal moment. Maybe he could rally support after all. The energy in the room began to crackle, the walls of skepticism breaking down bit by bit, but then, doubt crept back in. What if they didn't see it his way? What if he had miscalculated everything? As he finished his presentation, he looked around the room, seeking acknowledgement in those faces. I ask for your support in this venture, not just as the CEO aiming for higher profits, but as a human wanting to make a difference. The silence stretched, thick with tension. Would they embrace his vision, or would this be where his ambition crumbled? Just when it seemed the moment could stretch forever, Karen finally spoke. Let us deliberate on this. But Alex, it could change everything, for you and for us all. As he walked out, uncertainty mingled with hope. He had taken a step into the unknown, and all he could do now was wait. What would happen next? Would he be able to turn this fleeting dream into reality? The fear of losing it all haunted him, but so did the thrill of possibility. The clock was ticking. Alex left the boardroom, the walls echoing with the weight of his words. His heart raced as he replayed the meeting in his head. The serious tone, the palpable tension, and then Karen's unexpected willingness to consider his vision. It felt like a small victory, but he knew it was just the beginning. Once outside, he took a deep breath, the crisp midday air filling his lungs with renewed energy. Despite the fear still gnawing at him, a spark of hope flickered in his chest. He needed to build on that momentum somehow. His phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out and saw a message from Naomi. Great job today. I think you sparked some interest. Let us discuss how we can keep that fire burning. A smile crept across his face. Her support strengthened his resolve. As he stepped onto the busy city street, he looked around at the hustle of urban life. People rushed by, each lost in their own world. But Alex could see glimpses of where they might fit in his community program: children selling lemonade, parents taking their kids to soccer practice, teens laughing as they walked home from school. He headed toward a nearby cafe, determined to brainstorm ideas. After ordering a coffee, he found a cozy corner table and opened his laptop. The screen glowed, reflecting the excitement that bubbled within him. He began mapping out potential partners for the initiative, writing down local businesses and community leaders who might align with his goals. For every name he jotted down, he felt the weight of purpose return. This project was more than a proposal, it was a lifeline for the community. He pictured the kids playing, laughing, creating. He imagined their faces glowing with pride as they showcased their work. A summer camp that could turn into lifelong skills and friendships. A sudden ripple of laughter caught his attention, pulling him back to the present. He glanced up to see a group of children running past the cafe, their joy infectious. The older ones wielded makeshift soccer balls, and the little ones chased behind, dreaming of scoring the winning goal. It struck him, what if this program could help those children tap into their passions? A chance to breathe life into their dreams. Lost in thought, he began typing an email to Naomi, detailing his ideas. He wanted to share his vision and hear her thoughts on mobilizing community leaders. Just as he finished, his phone rang, a call from Karen. A wave of anxiety washed over him. Had he pushed too far? Alex, her voice, steady and professional, came through the phone. I've spoken to some board members about your presentation. We'd like you to meet again next week. His heart quickened at the sound of her words. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate it, he managed to reply, trying to keep his voice calm despite the excitement bubbling up. It's a big step, but there's still a lot to discuss. Remember, we need to present a strong business case along with the emotional one. Make time to prepare. Absolutely, he nodded, although Karen couldn't see him. Those were the words of a seasoned leader, pragmatic yet acknowledging the potential for change. I'll do my best. As the call ended, a mix of fear and determination coursed through him. Could he actually convince the board that this was the right path? Would they see the vision he had for the community and support him fully? He stared out from the cafe window, watching the children outside playing, their laughter echoing in his ears. They were depending on him, and he wouldn't let them down. With renewed vigor, he opened up his document again. The clock was still ticking, and he needed to make every minute count. As each idea flowed onto the screen, he felt a fire ignite within him. He was more than just a CEO. He was a changemaker, and the potential to reshape futures lay in his hands. What if the risks he was taking could lead to a revolution in corporate responsibility? What if this was more than just a project? What if it could inspire a movement? Excitement bubbled in his chest, and with a firm resolution, he began crafting an outline for his next meeting, striving to unite business with humanity. But just as a new idea sparked in his mind, there came a text alert from Naomi, her message simple yet provocative: "I heard some buzz. Let us talk. I think someone might be against your vision." Alex felt dread settle in the pit of his stomach. Someone might be against your vision. The words lingered in the air around him, heavy with implications. His resolve wavered as he stared out the cafe window again. The laughter of children, once a source of joy, now felt like a ticking clock. Voices whispered in his mind, doubts now clawing at the edges of his vision. Changing the corporate landscape would not be easy. Suddenly, a familiar warmth enveloped him. He remembered Sarah's smile, her unwavering faith in his mission. Taking a deep breath, he texted back. "I'm free now. Let us meet." As he made his way to the agreed location, anxiety flared within him. What if someone was indeed plotting against his vision? The air outside was crisp, vibrant with life. He found a bench in the park, a spot near where children were playing kickball. As he waited, he started to imagine what it would look like for children like them to have access to the programs he envisioned. He couldn't let anything stop that. Naomi arrived, her face serious but determined. "Hey," she greeted, taking a seat beside him. "So, I've been speaking with some board members, including Mark." "Mark?" Alex's heart raced as he braced for what she would say next. "Yeah," she continued, "he's not on board. He thinks your community program will jeopardize profits. He plans to speak against you in the next meeting." The news hit him like a freight train. All that work, and Mark, his longtime colleague, thought nothing of it. Why? Naomi leaned in closer, lowering her voice as if the trees could hear. "He believes that making a move like this is too risky, could hurt stock prices. Investors don't want mushy humanitarianism. They want numbers." Alex clenched his fists in anger, but amidst the frustration, a realization washed over him. He could feel the fire igniting in his veins like fuel. "I have to fight for this." "Yes." Naomi encouraged. "But you need to show them it's not just good for the community, it's good for business too." Determination surged in Alex. "How do I do that?" Naomi replied, "We create a solid plan that emphasizes potential returns. I think we can even partner with those companies that already focus on social responsibility. Market it well, and we could flip the conversation on Mark." As they brainstormed ideas, a sense of hope blossomed within him. The laughter of children throbbed in the background, reminding him of the urgency behind their mission. "Let us leverage public support," Naomi suggested. "Get testimonials, form alliances, make a video to share your vision and show what this means to the community." "Yes. We can showcase stories' real impacts," Alex exclaimed, excitement bubbling. Time slipped by as they plotted. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting a golden hue over everything, illuminating the path forward. An idea crystallized in Alex's mind: we approach the investors, not as a charity but as leaders. We frame this as an investment in long-term sustainability. Weeks passed as they crafted their strategy, hands working furiously, piecing together a narrative that blended purpose with profit. Community members shared stories of hope and need. Sarah's kids were part of it all, painting murals that expressed their dreams, showcasing the very vision Alex sought to realize. Finally, the day arrived when they were set to present their reimagined proposal to the board. As Alex stood in front of his colleagues filled with a mix of anxiety and resolve, he took a deep breath. "Today is about redefining ourselves," he began, gaze steady as he moved through the slides highlighting community testimonials and stories. "The impact on our bottom line will be profound," he asserted, his passion infectious. "Imagine being a company not just focused on profits, but on fostering a community that supports us just as much as we support them. By weaving our success into the fabric of the community, we build loyalty that outlasts any bottom line." The room buzzed with murmurs, eyebrows raised, some shifted in their seats, intrigued by his fervor. Then, Mark stood up, attempting to deflate the rising energy. "You've painted a nice picture, but it doesn't answer to our shareholders. It's easy to get lost in idealism." Alex met his gaze. "Mark, you sell us short if you think this is just idealism. It's vision. Today's consumers care about purpose. Look at our stock. How long can it rise if we neglect the humans behind those numbers?" Mark faltered briefly, and Alex pressed on, the hope rising in his chest. "We can show the world that caring is part of our brand. Let us be the example." Doubt shifted in the atmosphere, but applause erupted from Naomi and a few others who supported him. Karen stood next. "I think we owe it to the community and ourselves to look deeper. Alex's vision deserves exploration." The moment felt electric, and Alex's heart soared. In the following days, the tension in the air faded, replaced by a shared determination. They engaged with community leaders, created partnerships, and even planned a launch event for funding. Finally, the day of the event arrived. Alex stood surrounded by community families, laughter filling the space. Children painted, played, and created. He caught Sarah's eye from across the park, her smile radiant as she waved. Everything clicked then, the laughter, the goal he had fought for. Exhilaration flooded him. He was no longer just a CEO, he was part of something greater. Every sacrifice, every moment of doubt, had led to this point. As the event unfolded, he felt hands on his shoulders. He turned to see Naomi and Mark. To his surprise, Mark nodded. "I was wrong. Thank you, for making me see the vision." Overwhelmed but grateful, Alex smiled. "Together, we can redefine our impact." Moments turned into memories, and as the sun dipped below the horizon, Alex felt whole. The walls he'd once battled against melted away, leaving space for something else, a community ignited by hope and change. And he knew in that moment, this was just the beginning. Now, if you felt this incredible journey of transformation, I need you to act. You need to subscribe now to not miss any upcoming stories that inspire and ignite change like this one. Leave a like now to help push this video to even more people who need to hear this message. Comment below with your thoughts, feelings, or how you're feeling inspired to make change in your own life. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, we can create a wave of positivity that reaches far and wide.